Ferrari just lost the one thing that made their car competitive, and now the entire team is on edge. A hidden system, worth up to half a second per lap, suddenly targeted by the FIA. The same innovation that spread to 7 teams in just a few races is now being cut after it pushed performance beyond what the rules were supposed to allow. And here's the part that changes everything. This wasn't just speed. This was Ferrari's foundation. Leclerc feels it. Hamilton feels it. Because when you remove the rear stability from a Formula One car, you don't just lose time. You lose confidence. And when confidence goes, performance follows instantly. So now the real question isn't why Ferrari is furious. It's what happens when the team that created the most powerful idea on the grid is forced to race without it. To understand why the tension inside Ferrari is so intense right now, you have to look at what this system actually meant for the car, because this wasn't just an upgrade. It was the foundation. The SF-26 wasn't fast by accident. It was designed around a very specific idea, controlling airflow at the rear in a way no one else had done first. Think of it like building a house around a central pillar. Everything connects to it. The walls, the roof, the balance. Now imagine removing that pillar. The house doesn't instantly collapse, but it becomes unstable. That's exactly what's happening here. Because Ferrari didn't just add this system late in development. They built their entire aerodynamic package around it. According to the technical breakdown, the Miami upgrade alone changed key areas like the floor, the diffuser, the rear suspension, and the rear wing, all designed to work together with this concept. That's not a detail. That's a philosophy. And this is where the real problem begins. Because when the FIA cuts or limits this system, Ferrari doesn't just lose performance. They lose how the car works. Suddenly, the airflow isn't behaving the same way. The rear isn't as planted. The car doesn't rotate through corners with the same confidence. And this is where drivers feel it the most. Not on the straight, not in a straight line, in the corners, high-speed corners, the moments where commitment matters more than anything. Because driving a Formula One car isn't about reacting. It's about trusting. You turn in before you even know if the car will stick. You believe it will. And when that belief disappears, even slightly, you hesitate, just a fraction. But that fraction costs time. Every corner, every lap. But here's where it gets even more serious. Because Ferrari's biggest strength wasn't straight-line speed. It was cornering performance. That's where they made the difference. That's where this system gave them the edge. And now that edge is being reduced. At the same time as another problem still exists. Their engine deficit. Because while Ferrari gained time in corners, they were already losing time on straights compared to rivals. And this is the part that creates real pressure. Because now, remove part of their cornering advantage and keep the same straight line weakness. And suddenly, the balance disappears. And that leads to a scenario no top team wants. A car that is not the best anywhere. Not the fastest in corners. Not the fastest on straights. Just competitive, but not dominant. And in Formula One, that's the most dangerous place to be. Because you're close enough to see the front, but not close enough to control it. And this is why the reaction from Leclerc and Hamilton isn't just frustration. It's urgency. Because they don't just feel slower. They feel the car changing underneath them. Lap by lap. Corner by corner. And that creates pressure inside the team. Because now, every decision matters more. Do you try to recover the lost downforce? Do you redesign the rear completely? Do you shift focus to mechanical grip instead? Each option takes time. And time is exactly what Ferrari doesn't have. But here's the detail that changes everything. Because while Ferrari is trying to recover, other teams are not starting from zero. Some teams didn't rely as heavily on this concept. Their cars are more balanced, more flexible, which means when this system disappears, they don't lose as much. They adapt faster. And that's where the competitive order starts to shift. Quietly, but decisively. And this is where the tension inside Ferrari becomes something bigger. Because this isn't just about fixing a problem. It's about finding a new direction before everyone else pulls away. And that's the real challenge. Because in Formula One, losing an advantage is normal, but replacing it faster than your rivals can react. That's what defines whether you stay at the front or fall behind. And this is where the situation stops being just technical and becomes something much more dangerous for Ferrari. Because now, they're not just losing performance. They're losing clarity. Before this decision, everything inside Ferrari pointed in one direction. More development around the rear. More optimization of airflow. More refinement of a concept they understood better than anyone else. Now that direction is gone. And when a team loses direction, something subtle happens. Decisions slow down. Doubt appears. Do you keep pushing a concept that's being limited? Or do you abandon it and start again? That sounds simple. But in Formula One, that choice can define an entire season. Because every path has a cost. If Ferrari keeps developing around this concept, they risk investing in something that won't exist much longer. If they abandon it, they lose months of work instantly. And that creates hesitation. And hesitation is where time is lost. But here's what makes this even more intense. Because while Ferrari is asking questions, other teams already have answers. Teams that didn't rely so heavily on this system. Teams with more balanced aerodynamic concepts. They don't need to rethink everything. They just adjust. Small changes, fine-tuning, moving forward instead of starting over. And that difference becomes critical, because development in Formula One never stops. Every race, every upgrade, every simulation, it all adds up. So if one team slows down for even a short period, the others build a gap. Not instantly, but steadily. And that's exactly what Ferrari is trying to avoid. But here's the twist that changes everything. Because moments like this can also create breakthroughs. Because when your main advantage disappears, you're forced to look somewhere else, somewhere unexpected. And that's often where the biggest ideas come from. Ferrari found this concept when nobody else was looking. They turned a simple exhaust into a major aerodynamic weapon. They changed how the entire grid thinks. So now the question becomes, can they do it again? Because if they find a new concept, something just as powerful, then this moment becomes a reset, not a loss, a new beginning. But if they don't, if the next idea takes too long, then the consequences become clear. Because according to the performance outlook, Ferrari is already at risk of losing both of their key strengths at the same time. Less aerodynamic advantage, same engine deficit, and that combination leads to one of the worst scenarios in Formula One. A car that is not leading in any area, not the fastest in corners, not the fastest on straights, just chasing. And chasing is the hardest position to be in, because you're always reacting, always trying to recover, always one step behind. But here's the final layer, because this isn't just about engineers, it's about drivers. Leclerc, Hamilton, two drivers who rely on instinct and confidence, drivers who commit to corners at extreme speeds without hesitation. And when the car changes like this, that instinct is affected. You brake earlier, you hesitate on entry, you lose that final level of trust. And that's where performance disappears. Not in big mistakes, in small, invisible moments, lap after lap. And that's why the tension inside Ferrari feels so real right now. Because they're not just trying to fix a car, they're trying to rebuild confidence at the same time. And that's one of the hardest things to do in Formula One. So now everything comes down to one final question. Not about the ban, not about the FIA, but about Ferrari itself. When your biggest strength disappears, do you hesitate, or do you find something even stronger before anyone else does? And this is where everything finally connects, because the real impact of this ban isn't just what Ferrari loses today. It's what happens next. Because right now, Ferrari is standing at a crossroads, and the direction they choose will define everything that comes after. They can try to rebuild what they had, chase the lost downforce, attempt to recover the same feeling at the rear of the car. But here's the problem. That path is slow, difficult, and most likely incomplete. Because once a concept is restricted, you can't fully bring it back. You can only replace it. And that leads to the second option. Start over. Find a new idea. A new way to generate performance. Something that doesn't depend on what was just taken away. And that sounds simple, but it isn't. Because in Formula One, new ideas don't appear instantly. They take time. Testing, failures, iterations. And while Ferrari is going through that process, the rest of the grid is moving forward. And that's where the real risk appears. Because the gap doesn't open in one race. It opens slowly, quietly, a few hundredths here, a tenth there, until suddenly, it's too big to close. But here's where the story takes one final turn. Because Ferrari has been in this position before. A moment where something didn't work, where direction had to change, where pressure forced innovation. And sometimes that's when they are at their most dangerous. Because when Ferrari gets it right, they don't just recover, they surprise everyone. But that depends on one thing: speed. Not speed on track, speed in thinking, speed in development, speed in finding the next breakthrough. Because the teams that win in Formula One are not always the ones with the best idea. They are the ones who find the next one first. And right now, that race has already started. Behind closed doors, in design rooms, in simulations no one else can see. And that's what makes this moment so important. Because while everyone is focused on what Ferrari lost, very few are asking what they're about to create. And that's the real unknown. Because if Ferrari finds a next idea, something just as powerful, then this moment becomes the start of a comeback. But if they don't, if the next solution comes too late, then this won't just be remembered as a regulation change. It will be remembered as the moment everything shifted, the moment Ferrari stopped leading and started chasing. So now, everything comes down to one final thought. Not about the FIA, not about the ban, but about timing. Because in Formula One, being right is not enough. You have to be right first. And right now, the question isn't whether Ferrari can recover. It's whether they can do it before someone else takes control for good.